Hello chaps and chapesses, and today I'm very excited because we're going to talk about the new Hardy Fortuna Regent. The Hardy Fortuna has been my staple saltwater reel since the first iteration of the X series, which was absolutely brilliant. They then followed it up with the XDS, which I have used for the last 5 to 6 years. And this has been an absolute workhorse. I've really enjoyed using this reel. It's light, it's powerful. And then they stopped making it. And I was like, what's happening? What's going on? But don't worry, because there is the new Hardy Fortuna, and this one is called the Regent. I've been waiting for this reel to come out for quite some time, and I've been very excited to see what differences they were going to make to what was already a phenomenal saltwater reel and has become almost a benchmark for GT fishing. How is it going to be new? How is it going to be different from what was already a very fantastic reel? So let me tell you. First off, I notice it's much lighter, mostly because there's a lot less metal, which makes it lighter. This is a super narrow spooled, lightweight reel with a large arbor, which means it has a very fast rate of retrieve, which is brilliant because when you're trying to get onto a fish as quickly as possible, the large arbor really helps you crank line onto the reel and get in touch with your fish. The 8000 weighs 8.47 ounces, which is pretty light, and it really is suited for a 7, 8, 9, although in my opinion it might be a little bit big for a 7, but it's perfect for an 8 and it's perfect for a 9 weight, which is what I use it for. This is my staple 9 weight saltwater rig reel for using for permit, bonefish, bumphead parrotfish and many of the other species that I chase in the Seychelles. The 10,000 has always been my staple size for most of my GT fishing and tarpon fishing, and this one is no different. So the 10,000 is rated for 10, 11, 12, although it's probably better for 11 and 12, and weighs in at 9.9 ounces, which is pretty light for a reel of this size. In fact, it is noticeably lighter than the XDS, which is quite a serious lump of metal. And if you look at the spool differences, the spool difference on the new one is considerably narrower to match the large arbor, giving you that fast rate of retrieve. The 12,000 will be a rated 12 plus and will be primarily used for tarpon fishing. The tarpon fishermen are going to absolutely love this thing because you can winch line down onto a fish, especially when you're trying to bring it to the boat as quickly as possible and catch up with it in a moving boat. And the 12,000 is going to weigh in at 11.4 ounces, which is still very light for a reel of that size. Finish wise, the ones I have come in these rather attractive blue and silver detail, and then there is also a plain black version for those who don't like things quite as flashy as I might do. The 8000 has almost a 10-inch retrieve. So every time you turn that handle, you're pulling in about 10 inches of line, which is brilliant for keeping up with the fast-moving bonefish and other species you may be targeting with a 9 weight. The 10,000 has a monstrous 14-inch retrieval rate every time you turn that big crank handle. And for those who want to be totally gratuitous, the 12,000 has a monstrous 16-inch retrieve every time you turn the handle. That is a substantial amount of line. So looking at some of the specs on this reel, firstly it has the typical Hardy one turn 360 degree from 0 to hero crank drag, which I really like. This is one of the things which is one of my biggest beefs in saltwater fishing. I do not want to sit there spinning a drag knob to try and get up to the right amount of drag, because quite often in the environment that I'm fishing in, I want to be able to maximize that drag very quickly to stop a fish diving over the edge of coral heads or reef edges. Like its predecessor, it has this fantastic big paddle handle which is very easy to grip. You can get some really good purchase on this, and it also means that if the reel is spinning quickly, you can find it very quickly and really get a good grip on that. And I've always really liked that about the Fortuna series reels. I'm not a great fan of these little spindly handles. When you have got a big saltwater fish on the go, you really want to be able to grab that handle and crank it as hard as you can and know that it's not going to be an issue. So let's talk about backing capacity. Now, it's obviously not going to hold as much as an XDS because it does have a large arbor. I can get about 350 yards of 80-pound Power Pro on the XDS for my 11 and my 12 weight rigs. So this I have also wound up with 80-pound Power Pro, and it has taken 275 yards. So it's not quite as much, but to be honest, if it's going to get further away from that, then I'm probably going to lose it anyway. And as a comparison, the 8000 can get about 250 yards of 80-pound Power Pro, which is more than sufficient for an 8 and 9 weight reel. One of the things I noticed about these two reels straight off the bat is there is a very large, if you'll forgive the pun, arbor difference between the two sizes. So your 8000 and your 10,000, it's a big reel, but it's not stupidly big. It's more than manageable. So to create this large arbor, obviously they've had to take out an awful lot of metal, which does give you this big frame. Now, when you first look at that, you think, it might be a bit spindly. Maybe it might flex a bit. Well, I can tell you right now, it doesn't flex at all. It's absolutely solid and rigid in construction. Next, let's talk about the drag. Now, I know a lot of us, when we first saw the specs on this reel, were slightly worried about this. The XDS has that phenomenal 30 pounds plus about 32 pounds of drag pressure. I mean, it is an absolute beast. When we're talking about the 8000, this reel has about 10 pounds of drag, which is absolutely fine for most of the stuff that it's going to get used for. The 10,000 then notches up to between 16 and 20 pounds of drag, which I was a little worried about. I'm going to be flatly honest. I was a little bit worried about this. For GT fishing, I wanted something which had monster drag, because I want to be able to headstand those fish and stop them getting away from me. The 12,000 has over 22 pounds of drag. But there's only one way that we're really going to find out if these reels can hack it, and that is to take them to the Seychelles.
Beautiful.
Oh, I love this game. Tailing on the flats. Doesn't get any better than that.
Thanks for playing.
Goodbye, boy.
Well done.
So, the new Hardy Fortuna Regent. That's a pretty reel. So I've been using it for a day so far, and it's caught a couple of GTs, and so far I'm pretty pleased with it. I did have some concerns when I initially saw the specs on this reel about the drag, and I know some other people who fish for GTs have as well. So this has only got 22 to 23 pounds of drag, whereas the old one was more like 32. But I can confirm that it's more than strong enough. It's performed very well. It's much lighter than the old one, and what I really like about it is the incredible rate of retrieve. It's got such a wide arbor. You can get line back really quickly. So hopefully we're going to put it to the test today again and keep dunking it in salt water. So all in all, it's going well, and we'll just keep pushing it hard through the week. It is a test out here though, because you do spend your whole week up to your waist in salt water. It's not like being on the front of a flat skiff. So they get doused, knocked around, full of sand, and so far it's still smooth as a baby's backside. So all good. There she goes. Damn, that's going. Come on, Trig, come on. Yes! Come on, you're on. Come on, Trig. Come on. Come here. Here he comes to save the day. Yeah! Oh.
Get your line up, get your line up, get your line up. Make these big black ones. Go, 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 go. Okay, drop it. Strap, 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 strap. Set it. Set it. Okay, let him go. Now we're going to find out if it works.
Well, that was a pretty cool trip. Oh, I appear to be wearing exactly the same t-shirt. I wonder how that happened. Anyway, so what did I discover? What did I find out? Do I like this reel? Do I not like this reel? Well, let me tell you. The 8000 performed beautifully. It was perfect for catching triggerfish, which I was expecting it to. It caught some bonefish, no problems at all, quick rate of retrieve. And when I mean a quick rate of retrieve, really quick rate of retrieve compared to my XDS. But the 10,000, which I did initially have some worries about, performed extremely well. And the first thing I noticed was that retrieval rate. It really does make a massive difference compared to the XDS. You can pile in the line really, really fast. And to the drag, I have to say, I now don't have any issues with the amount of drag that this reel produces. I did manage to handstand GTs on their heads without too much difficulty, and I also managed to hook and land a 1m16 GT on this 10,000. Now, quite frankly, if it's going to be able to survive that, it's going to survive anything. So I didn't feel like I was undergunned, which was what I was really, really worried about. I was genuinely worried about that. I like this reel. I really appreciate the lightweight construction. The lightweight construction is really fantastic when you're casting all day. I use this primarily on my 11 weight, which is my weapon of choice these days. Although I did put it on my 12 weight as well, I didn't really notice too much difference. But the balance on it was really, really nice. I have also opened up the reel since I got back and checked inside, checked the sealed drag system and make sure that it really is sealed. There was no water inside the drag system. I don't think any reel is really truly sealed, but so far this one has been just as good as any I've had previously, and so I don't have any complaints at all in recommending these. The line capacity was absolutely fine. I was not worried that I was going to run out of backing at any given time, even with that really big fish which literally piled off the flats and smashed its way into the lagoon, and then we had to follow it in a boat and move around a whole bunch of coral heads, which was a bit of a drama, but extremely exciting. And it survived. It hasn't given me any issues. It hasn't given me any cause to doubt it, which I suppose I was expecting to. I was expecting to be a little bit, you know, I think I prefer my XDS. But the retrieve is what makes the real difference and why I will continue to use these. It really did give me a huge advantage on fish that were charging out away from me. I could crank down on them so quickly, and then especially when a fish has gone out on a really long run, I could retrieve that line so much faster. The crank handle on the back, easy to operate, no problems with that. I have heard one or two people say that they would like it to be a bit bigger. I mean, I didn't have that issue, but maybe it's just because I've got small hands or something. It is a little bit smaller than the one that's on the XDS, but there's plenty of ridges on it, and I found to grip it even when my hands were really wet, not really a problem. The other thing that I did find, apart from the speedy retrieve, is that the large arbor allows you to put a lot of pressure on a fish, which I wasn't really expecting. I mean, yeah, a reel's a reel, and I thought, yeah, it's not gonna, but the extra retrieve, you really can pile on the pressure on a fish, and when you're fighting a GT or a big tarpon or something like that, that is absolutely paramount. The overall aesthetics on the reel, yeah, they're good. It's really pretty. I mean, I do like the silver and blue finish. I know that some others will prefer the black finish, and that's fine. Everybody prefers their own thing, horses for courses. So overall, yeah, no, I'm very happy with the Fortuna Regent. I think it's a great replacement for the XDS, and I think I might just have to bite the bullet and get the 12,000 as well, just so that I have all of them. I suspect that the 12,000 will allow me to really crank down on fish, although it is much bigger, so it might be a little bit harder to pack away in bags and in my reel brief and that kind of thing, but I'm definitely going to give it a go. And overall, I think that's another great reel from the House of Hardy. I mean, they do make really beautifully engineered reels, and so far so good. I mean, it just does exactly what it says on the tin. I know that quite a lot of you, like me, were wanting to know exactly how this reel performed before they bit the bullet and actually invested in one, but I think it's going to be a great reel for the future. So talking about price, the 8,000 comes in at £599, the 10,000 comes in at £649, and the 12,000 comes in at £699. So yes, they're expensive, but I think they're worth it. As always, I hope you found that video useful. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.